Okay, so we're just gonna paint the filing cabinet gray. What about the finish that's on it right now, Greg? Do you have to refinish? Do you have to sand that down or anything?
Nope, this stuff sticks to just about anything. That's what the plus. You just put on a thin, first one coat, I'd say, just put on one coat and let that dry a little bit before you put the second coat on. But I've painted over top of stuff that had been laminated and everything. It just goes on like, it sticks to anything. This stuff's wonderful.
All right, cool. Okay, so we're gonna do one coat all the way around, and so we'll just skip through that, and then we'll catch back up with you in a minute once it's painted. Okay, one thing that we forgot to tell you about earlier, before we said apply the paint, was to take all the hardware off. So we did that prior to painting it, but just so you see, take all the external hardware off the surface before you paint it. And you're gonna need two brushes with this. Greg, can you tell them about that?
You need one for the paint and one for the wax. You don't want to mix the two unless you're going for a mix effect, but they don't seem to work well together. I found I had more problem to get a better effect if you have the two brushes and you rub the wax in after the gray is applied.
The first, okay, all right, thanks. So the first coat has been applied. And so we're just gonna let that cure for, what, about an hour?
It really only takes 10-15 minutes, but if you want to be safe, give it an extra, have a beer, give it 10 minutes.
So one beer or two beer?
It's one beer. It takes one beer of time before it's ready for the second coat.
All right, thanks. Okay, so we put our two coats on now, and that's gonna just dry. We'll let that cure for how many beers?
At least two.
At least two beers. And then we'll come back and we'll put the wax on.
Yeah.
And we'll come back and get a different brush and we'll put the wax on after.
You just put a very light coat of wax on and blend it in and to the paint. And you kind of get like it's kind of a barnwood finish. Then I just spread it around. Just take a little dab will do you, like in public school. And just put a little dab will do you and just smear it around, and then when this dries, you come back and give it one more touch up. And you can add more white to little sections depending on what you're looking for. You can create a bunch of different looks with different effects. But this paint's really, really good and easy to work with.
So that's just the flat gray, and then after the flat, you apply the wax. So there's the flat, and there's the wax added. Gives it that worn, washed look.
Around in spots. It's actually the imperfections that make it kind of unique. So you want to have, mistakes are good.
Yeah, the white on here is a little darker, a little lighter than down there.
Yeah, because I just put one coat on here and then I'm going to come back and put a second coat on there. Once you smear the first coat in and give the second coat something to grab to, it's easier to smear around. But if you like the corner effects, you just add more wax to that. Kind of gives it a little bit of an aged look. You can smear it around if you want to add a little bit more white in one section. You just touch it up with this, and then just
Feather it, eh?
feather it away. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks good.